So now that we've taken a look at the machine and the different compartments and just, it's a beautiful machine, you guys. I absolutely love the look of it. Let's take a look at what powers this machine. And that's where this machine, in my opinion, really takes off. So for the first time, Cricut has a new program called Cricut Design Space, which is designed exclusively for the Cricut Explore. They haven't stopped their Cricut Craft Room, so please keep in mind if you have a legacy machine like an Expression 2 or Mini, you can still use Cricut Craft Room. But Design Space was designed especially for the Cricut Explorer. So when you're at the Cricut home site and you go over here, there's a Cricut Design Space. You're going to click this. Now, one of two things you can do here. If you bought this machine, congratulations, by the way, you're going to love it, you can go ahead and get a free trial subscription by registering your machine. You're going to want to do this because that gives you access to like 25,000 amazing designs, and it's awesome. If you're watching this video and you're thinking, hey, I'm thinking about buying the Explorer, and this Ken guy did a video on another machine, so I'm going to kind of compare the two, I recommend trying it now. Download the Cricut Design Space and play around with it. And you're going to fall in love with it, and you're going to want to buy the machine. So either way, you're going to get the machine. I know you are. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and show you Cricut Design Space and why I have went from someone who, in the beginning, I will admit, I was not in love with Design Space, and how I slowly, over the past 3 months, fell in love with this software and why. So let's take a dive into it. Now, when you go to Design Space, there is a lot of features, you guys, and I could go into depth each one of them and explain them, but this video is going to be like 2 hours. So, I know you're just watching this video to make up your mind why you should buy this machine. I'm just going to hit every little area very quickly, and then I'm making more in-depth videos on each area. So please watch my other videos or watch other people's videos to see just every little aspect of this, because there's a lot that this program can do, and just so you know, a lot is coming, I've heard. So make sure that if you're not impressed with the software, keep checking back, because they've already done like 3 updates and added amazing features based on what the customers want. And I know you might be thinking, hey, I know Cricut, and in the past they haven't listened to us. They're a new company, let me tell you. I'm really impressed with what's going on. So anyways, off my soapbox. So here is your Make It Now project. So in this very first page, you're going to see all of these images, and this is what I like to call Cricut iTunes. I don't know if I can say that. That might be copyrighted. It's C-Tunes. Let's call it C-Tunes. So this is C-Tunes, Cricut Tunes, and it's Make It Now project. So this is an amazing resource that if you needed to make a real, look at that card, that is so cute. Good job, Good Designs, J Good Designs, that's cute. So what this is basically this blogger has created this project. She's told you, you know, how easy it is. It tells you how long it's going to take, tells you all the materials you're going to need, and then it's also going to tell you what you're going to need to make this card, and if you either A, have it, or if you're going to need to make it. On a side note, I really like this card. Very good job. So you can customize the card by hitting customization, or you can go straight and make it now. So that's all I'm going to really dive deep into the Make It Now projects. They have over 600, I think, designs, and as you can see, more being added, not just by Cricut, but by other people that use this machine and use the program. So if you say, gosh, I want to design on my own, we're going to hit this Create a New Project. Now, when you get in here, the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to log into your account. And the reason why is once you've logged into your account, all of your cartridges that you have linked to your Cricut.com account are going to show up in Design Space. Now, as I said earlier, I'm just going to touch on each one of these things, and then we'll go more depth in later on videos, because I want this to be kind of a shorter video for you. So if we want to, let's go over all these icons. In Design Space, what makes this program amazing is it literally takes all of the work out of creating your project. You can spend more time on the project and getting inspiration and being creative and not worrying about arranging things on the mat. What speed should it be? How deep should the blade be? That's what makes this amazing, is Cricut has done this for you. So on your design space, you have this. You no longer have a mat. A lot of programs you're going to see a mat, you're going to design on the mat. On design space, you're not going to do that. This is a space for you to design. Along the left here, you start with your little Cricut guy. There's me. That's me. Aren't I handsome? Little Cricut guy. So in this little one, you're going to see account details, which is your Cricut.com accounts. This is where you can link cartridges to your Cricut.com account. So as I said earlier, where I showed you where cartridges go, that's just for linking to your Cricut.com account. You will need to use Design Space to create with the Cricut Explorer. Firmware update, this is where you go to update your machine or to let you know if you need to update your machine. And then of course you can log out. Along the left-hand side, this is where you can insert images. So you can actually go here and pick an image. And there's tons of videos about how this is organized. And I will be making one, but this is essentially where you go to upload an image. It's broken down into all images. You can look at image sets, which are basically cartridges or sets of images that Cricut has put together. My images, which are images that I've uploaded to Design Space. And yes, that is right, you can upload images. For the first time, Cricut is allowing you to upload SVGs to cut on one of their machines. I think we all need to take a moment of silence to thank them. Moving on. All right. So, and then you have my image sets, which are basically all of these sets that you've already linked. So you know you own all of these sets. All right. Over here is the upload image. And I love this little cloud because for the first time, I can go to some of my favorite designers, purchase their SVGs, and cut them on my Cricut. You have two options in upload image. You have a basic upload and a vector upload. Basic upload are images that consist of a single layer. So these are going to be like a JPEG or a GIF, a PNG, a BMP. Vector upload are going to be SVG files or DXF files. SVG files are the most common file that designers use, and they consist of different layers with different colors. I'm so excited, you guys. You can finally upload your own images. That should make you want to purchase a machine right there, but moving on. You also can add text. So, this is also going to blow your mind. For the first time ever, Cricut is allowing us to use our own fonts. So any fonts that are on our computer, TrueType fonts, we are now able to upload into Design Space. So as you can see, all of my Cricut fonts are there. But there's also some other fonts that I've downloaded from sites on the internet, and now they're in here as well. Isn't that amazing? So the first time you can use any fonts on your computer in your projects. All right, and over here there is a set canvas. So this is really cool. What it is basically Design Space has given you a canvas to work on. So for example, if I was making a baby onesie and I'm saying, gosh, I really want to design around this onesie, I can actually click this, hit done, and then my onesie shows up in Design Space. And what's cool about this is it's basically saying, okay, what size is it? How high? And then you can make your design based on this onesie. So I can actually get a visualization of what this is going to look like. So if I have this onesie and I'm thinking I want to put a cute little boy thing on it because I'm making it for a little boy and I like this spaceship and hit insert images, I can actually design it right on the onesie and get an idea of, wow, what's that going to look like, you know, on the onesie? How big do I need this? Do I want it smaller? Do I want to add text? It kind of gives you a visualization of the canvas you're working on. Now, this is obviously not going to print, this little onesie, but it just helps you in your design process. Once again, Cricut is taking the thinking out of it for you and letting Design Space do that for you. So that is what the canvas is all about. Over on this left-hand side, you also have a zoom in and zoom out button. And then you have a help button that it will take you directly to the Cricut.com support page. All right. So let's talk about up top, these icons. So let's go ahead and go back to my blank canvas here. There we go. So along the top, let's start all the way over here under this Cricut Untitled document. You have a little box. This box, if you click it, is going to bring up a grid. What's great about this grid is it's broken into 1 by 1 or 1 inch by 1 inch blocks. So if I'm doing an image, let's say I have an image of these little footprints, and I want to know, working with it, how big it is, I can actually line it right up there, move it, and it's going to tell me, down here, you can see it says it's 5.6 wide or high, but if I don't have that selected, I'm thinking, how tall is this? I can just count my boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, it's just under 5 inches. So that's what this little box does. Up here you have File. So this is a couple different things. You have this with the little bookmark. This is going to take you back to your Make It Now projects. If you select that, it's going to say, do you want to save your current project? I'm going to say don't save, and it takes me back to that splash page of the Make It Now projects. Your other keys in here is you have the folder with a plus sign. That means you're starting a new project. The folder with the little up sign means you're opening a project that you currently have saved, and it will bring up and say, okay, you have something saved, and you can actually say, I want to go ahead and open that saved project, and it's going to bring up that saved project. Isn't that a beautiful project? There's nothing there. I know, but I just wanted to show you. Oh, look, there is. Oh, look at that. That's funny. All right, and then you have a save as. So this is going to save your project, and you can just hit save, and it's going to save it. And that is how you can save projects and also share it with people. Now, if you don't want to go through the save project, there is a shortcut key that just saves it really quickly for you. And so you can select that. And what that will do is if you're in a project and you already have that project saved, by hitting save, it's going to update the changes. So if I moved these rings, I can hit that quick save, and that's going to save it to this project called Scrap. So if you can see, when I hit save over here under Cricut, that scrap turns green with dots. That means it's saving it. There's an undo button. So if I hit undo, it's going to undo my last action. There's a redo button. That's going to redo your actions. There is a cut button, so I can actually cut this. And then it obviously disappears. And then there is also a copy. So I can, right there, I can hit copy. And it's thinking, and then it will make a copy of that. And then right here, just click off that, paste, and there it did. So that's how your copy and paste works. So if I want to make a duplicate, some programs call it duplicate, I'm just going to go copy. It's going to copy that image and then paste it. And then you're going to see it just come right up. All right, the select all key. What this is essentially going to do is select everything on your mat. So as you can see, I have a lot on this mat. I'm working with a file. I can actually select it all. So if I want to move this around, it selects everything for me. So instead of saying, okay, I need to move this, okay, I want to move this down here and whatever it be, I can just hit select all. Now, here's the arrange button, and this is new. So basically what this is if you select an item and you go up to arrange, you have this one, which is move that backwards. You have something that says move forwards, move to back, move to front. So to demonstrate this, let me go ahead and go into a new project. So what's nice on the new Cricut Design Space is when I'm working with an image, and let's say I'm working with this bear skeleton image, it brings that image in all combined, ready to go. So it's not like where you have all those different layers and how to construct it. It actually says this is what your project's going to look like. Now, these consist of different layers. So if I was to ungroup this item by selecting ungroup down here, as you can see, all of the separate pieces will move. Now, if I didn't want the skeleton piece, let's say I just wanted this bear here, I could, if I wanted to, move things back to front. See? So if I wanted this to be my top layer, not that skeleton, I could do that. If I selected like let's say this here, and then this is the base right here. If I wanted to, just to show you guys, I could select that back piece and say bring it to the forward, and that's going to bring it forward. So here you go. Move this item forward. Move this item back. So it's not the best example, but it just kind of demonstrates what this can do. All right, so that's your arrange function. You have also your go function. So if you are ready to cut an image, you can hit go, and this is what actually then the magic happens, in my opinion. What the design space does is it breaks everything down in layers. It tells you how many mats you need. It tells you the colors, everything. You don't have to move items around and move this item here and move this item here. It literally does everything for you. And in my opinion, this is why Design Space is such a cutting edge program, is because it does the work for you. I'm concentrating on designing this project, not worrying about what do I have to do to complete the project. Alright, so there's a ton of tutorials more about those features, but I want to keep going here. Alright, so we've taken a look at all of these icons. So let's take a look at these icons far off to the upper right. So in order to show you those, we do need to bring an image into our design space. Alright, so when you actually have this image selected, the easiest way to move the size is to just kind of do this. Grab the corner and move it up and down. However, they have an edit function. Now the edit function is how you can manually adjust your size. You can also unlock your image here. So right now if I was to change the size, it's selected and I say I want this to be a width of 7. It's also going to keep the ratio to the height. Now if I unlock that and say I want a width of 10 and that's unlocked, you're going to see it get really wide now because I unlocked it. The other things you can do here is you can rotate your image manually, so you can go up and down, or you can also select this little middle part here and move it back up and down. You can mirror your image, which is very important if you're going to be making a heat transfer vinyl or doing anything with iron-ons. You have to mirror it, so there's the mirror function. You can mirror it up and down. And then you can change your position here of the XY axis. The next thing is your layers box. So this is probably the box that I use the most. It has a weld feature. So that welded all my pieces together. It has a contour and attach, which I will do a video on these and what these do. It shows you all of your layers. And right now it's showing the layers because my eyeball is there. There is another layer that Cricut Design Space automatically hid. So if I unhide this, see how that shadow layer, it basically said, no, we don't want that. But that's how you get your shadow layer back on your images, guys. Alright, moving on. So it also tells me we are cutting all of these layers. Now, if I was to touch the little picture, it brings up that specific layer. So I'm looking at these top little pieces here. This is where I can change it to say I want it to be written on, not cut on, or scored on, as it made little dashes. This is also where I can change the color. Now, you might be saying, well, right now, Cricut does not have print and cut. Why would you change the color? And the reason why is when you hit go, remember when I showed you how you hit go, it separates everything into layers? It does it by color. So if I hit go, it's going to calculate all my mats and break it into color. So now, because those gray pieces are here, it's its own mat. If I wanted to, I could change it, and let's say visually in my project, I'm going to be cutting these on a khaki. So I could change it to khaki, and now when I hit go, it changes the paper to gray. So for right now, it's a layer thing. You change it based on the color you're using, or if you want to change it to a different layer it's using. So what I mean by that is if I want this to match the red, I could change it to that red. Now, you can do that for each layer. Or there's a sync, which we'll talk about, but also in the layers down here, you have a ungroup, which ungroups all your layers. So now everything's separate. Now, let's say I want to regroup it. All I have to do is draw a box around it, hit group, and it groups those items back together. I have a duplicate shortcut, so I can duplicate it, and it's going to duplicate the whole entire thing. And I have a delete shortcut. That will actually delete everything. So I was just talking about the sync feature. What the sync is for color sync. So if I wanted this red to match this red, I literally can just click and drag it up to that red, and it merges that red and changes it to that color. This will come really important when the print cut feature comes out, which it is coming. But it also is if I wanted to cut on that same mat, now when I hit go, it's going to reduce me from 4 mats down to 3 because I synced those colors. So right now, that's what the sync feature is. It also lets you know how many layers you're going to have without hitting go. So right now, it's saying you're trying to cut 3 material colors. If not, consolidate below. So I want to go back to changing that to gray, so I'm going to go to layers, hit that one, and gray. The last feature you have here is your canvas. So if I have a set canvas, and this is one of the features we talked about over here, and I have that baby onesie, and I hit done, and I update my canvas. If I click out of that, it's like, oh, where'd my canvas go? There's your shortcut to get canvas. So all of these things are always running in the background. These are your shortcuts to get back to your edit, your layers, syncing of colors, and canvas. Now, once I hit go, once again, it takes you back to this screen. It tells you how many you need to cut. It's going to tell you, are you cutting this? Are you scoring this? Are you writing on this? You can change your material right now to 12 by 24 or 12 by 12. If you forgot to mirror your image, for iron-on, you still can do that here. So if you need to make sure these are mirrored, you can turn them on. Just make sure you do it for each layer if it's a grouped item, because if not, it's going to come out funky looking. And then you also have the ability to move images on your mat. So they've given you also that grid on this mat, and you're able to move these images. So keep in mind, if you go outside of the cutting area, that yellow line will turn to red and basically says, you can't cut there, it's outside of its boundaries. But I can move it. So if I'm using a piece of paper and I know that I need to use this side of my mat because it's more sticky, I can move that. Now, it will also tell you down here if you bought anything. So if you're using an image from the library that's going to cost money, it's going to say, hey, that's in your shopping cart, and when you hit go, it's going to make you purchase that. Now, once you hit go, this is where you can no longer manipulate your images, so you can't move anything around. Okay? So basically, you're not able to move anything once you get to this screen. So once your machine's turned on and you're ready to go, whether it be via the wireless adapter or a cord, it's going to be ready for you to go. So once you've hit cut, your cut preview is going to come up. You see a couple of different things on here. You're going to see mat 104. You're going to see a load with the load key, your dial set, and go. And you guys, this is what I love about the Cricut Explore is they've really made it from inspiration to project in a few clicks. I mean, you can design and be done with this in such a quick process because the Explore and Design Space have taken all of the thinking work out of it. So we're going to go ahead and load our paper. And then you have your set. So it goes to set and go. Now this is where you set what media you're using. And this is another reason I love Design Space. They have taken the thinking out of it. You don't have to worry about what blade depth, what speed, how do I want to make sure this cuts appropriately. They've done that. Now you can either do one of two things. You can set the dial. You can go to paper, vinyl, iron-on, light cardstock, regular cardstock, fabric, poster board, or they have a custom with a little computer on it. And if you go to the custom, you can hit this drop-down box and pick the different custom materials. This is another advantage over this machine that I have with my competitor machine, is the fact that I can cut the construction paper, of course, but you can cut canvas, chipboard, aluminum, felt. I've cut corkboard. I've cut wood. It's amazing at what this can cut. You can cut leather. And the great thing is you don't have to mess with the blade. You don't have to mess with how deep it is. You don't have to mess with how fast do I need to cut it. The machine does everything. The Cut Smart technology takes care of everything. And this is a huge advantage in this machine, you guys. Huge, huge advantage. Using the Cut technology, I've never had to recut something because it knew how fast and the blade depth to do it. So once you've chose your media, oh, one other thing on the set. You're going to notice, for example, when you go to paper, there's a negative sign or a plus sign. And that just means for paper specifically, if you're using a standard paper 20-pound, you're going to go to paper. If it's smaller, you're going to go to, or a less weight paper, you're going to go negative. If it's for example, I use a lot of 80-pound, I'm going to go to the plus. That just means it's a heavier paper. And that's for each one. There's a vinyl plus, which means thicker vinyl. Iron-on has the same thing. Cardstock has the plus and minuses. So that's what those plus and minuses mean. So once you've set what you're cutting, so I'm going to set cardstock. All you have to do is hit go, which is your little Cricut head. And then the machine does the magic. It does everything for you. It figures out how fast you need to cut it, and it figures out the blade. Once you're done, you unload it. It also tells you here, I paused this so you can see this. So as you can see, cut paused. But it will actually tell you how long it is in that cut. So this little bar down here tells you how long it's going to take to cut that. Now, if you had an image that required scoring or writing, you're going to see those icons here, and it's also going to tell you up here what to do. Once again, it's taken all of the thinking out of it. This machine guides you through the process. It's amazing. Thank you for watching part 2 on the Should I Buy a Cricut Explore series, going over Design Space. Make sure you check out part 3, which will go over the subscription service and my final thoughts on the Cricut Explore and whether you should buy a Cricut Explore or not. Make sure you're checking out my blog at www.creativecan.blogspot.com. Make sure you're checking out all my YouTube videos so you can make sure you see all of the exciting things that this machine can do. And let's go ahead and jump over to the third and final video in the Should I Buy a Cricut Explore series.